Hey everyone, greetings from beautiful and fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I wanted to say hi and happy 2018 to my Instagram fam out there. And I also wanted to share something that's really lit me up on fire. Yesterday, I have to confess that I woke up and I was feeling a little funky, a little bit weird. Have you ever had one of those days where you're not feeling quite right and things are feeling off? And that's normally not me at New Year's. At New Year's, I'm usually really cool, calm, collected, really excited about everything that's going on and really clear about how I'm going to make it happen. But yesterday I woke up and I wasn't feeling that way. So I took a couple of deep breaths and I was like, what can I do to maybe ease some of that anxiety, some of that unknowingness? And I started asking a lot of questions of myself, and those questions led to maybe an 8-hour exercise that frankly I'm not done with quite yet, but I wanted to share these questions that I asked and some of the examples of the answers that I came up with. I did post the actual questions on a post yesterday, so if you need to write them down or go back and reference them at some point, they're on my Instagram feeds. Feel free to take a look after you're done watching this. But anyway, these questions opened up more questions and more lists and more opportunities to get really real on some of the things that I could be doing and maybe some of the ways I was creating some of the anxiety and unsureness for myself. And here we go. First of all, I wanted to look at what's working, right? What are the things that I instigated, especially in the past year, that are really working? And this is a chance, when you ask yourself this, to really congratulate yourself and pat yourself on the back, because there's things that we all do, and I know this year was absolutely huge for me. What was working for me, the biggest thing, was education. I invested so much money in myself in this last year, and it paid off in droves. It just paid itself back. It was really scary to write some of those checks or hand over my debit card information to these people, but that's what paid for some of my certifications, and more importantly, the skills and clarity that I now bring to my clients. So the education, and now it doesn't always have to be investing in yourself, but also education in terms of books, investing my time in listening to podcasts. I'm an avid podcast listener. I feel like it's free university, and it's made massive mindset shifts in my brain and has led me down this path. I could do a whole series on what podcasts have done for me. But anyway, YouTube videos, right? Just studying the masters in my industry, studying other people who are doing other really cool things, and really just creating the lives that they love, and figuring out other different interesting ways to create what I'm obsessed with, which is the intersection of creativity and wealth, whatever that means to people. And so the investing in education, meditation was really big, where I started slowing down. That's still a work in progress, really putting it into practice in a really real and feasible way. But we'll get to that in the questions a little bit later, further down this exercise. Really deeply connecting with people, whether those are people I'm networking with, and not looking at them as some potential gain or client, but really just connecting and being present. And that's been really great. Another thing that's working is taking risks and really scaring the ever-living bejesus out of myself almost every day, networking events where I have to get up and say, hi, I'm Erin, I'm a life coach, this is what I do, this is how I'm going to help you. At first it was really, really scary. I did a lot of speaking events this year that was way out of my comfort zone, and I probably wasn't I wasn't the best speaker, and that's okay. I'm not supposed to be at the beginning. So those were some of the things that I was working, and that was a really fun question to answer. And then just as equally important, if not more important, and this isn't an exercise in self-judgment, it's really an exercise in inventory so that you can at least be aware, like, what's not working. And that list has about 17. I noticed that it was interesting as I was doing this exercise, I created a lot of distractions for myself before I dug into this, and it took me probably about an hour to sit down and click in with my headphones and just go to those places of what isn't working. And I have a feeling that the list isn't complete, and that's okay. That's also a chance, if you're feeling the same thing or resistance around any of these exercises, if you choose to do them, that resistance is actually a chance to be learning a couple things about yourself too. What is that resistance? Why didn't I want to look at what's not working, right? Is it ego? Is it fear? What is it? So, one of the biggest things that wasn't working for me, just to give you guys an example, I'm not going to go through all 17, but one of the things that isn't working for me is frankly how much time I spend with Netflix. I have a really obsessive personality. I really committed to being a coach, and once I commit to something, whether it be a career or a television show, there's really no going back. So when I think about Netflix and all that, like, I think it's really good to unwind and unplug and give yourself a break from everyday stuff. But how, like, where's that time balance? I know that it's not necessarily serving my greater good in the best way that it can. So, and that's all right. It's just good to be aware of that, right? Another thing that I was looking at was not having systems in place for sort of the cycles of life, like the ebb and flow of things. Whereas after March, I went out and I built a business and I went full out and all of that good stuff. What I didn't do was set up other support systems that would support my business if I were not necessarily present to go out and create and connect with people, because there are ebbs and flows. Unless you're Gary Vee, and Gary Vee apparently can hustle 24/7 every day in his sleep. If he saw this video and saw me talking about I needed to take a couple of months off because I was sad about fires and deaths in the family and all that, he'd probably throw up in his K-Swiss shoes. That's okay. We're not all Gary Vee. That's all right. However, what wasn't working was, I know myself, and I know that sometimes when life happens, I feel deeply, right? Which is part of what makes this career so fitting for me. But when life happens, I feel very, very deeply. And sometimes I take a step back, and I did take a step back, and it was cool. That's really great. And what I learned from it is that it's not working to not have the systems on the back end to kind of keep things going, right? So it was awesome that it came up in the not working category. Let's see if there's anything else. Ooh, my favorite. I've said this so many times. Consuming content that doesn't serve the greater good. I'm going to go on record. I've gone on record before. Stop watching the news. The news is crap. It is designed to create fear and put you in a place of a reactionary place so that you'll consume whatever they're advertising. I'm saying it. You can put a tinfoil hat on me if you want. It is not good for you. The best thing to do in terms of staying informed is staying informed with things that really connect you with your greatest purpose and really keep you like centered in a heart space. It's incredibly important because it's from that heart space where we can actually be empowered to go change the things that we really want to change. I know personally when I'm in fear and I start scrolling down like either my news apps and it's like, hey, we're all gonna die from a nuclear holocaust. Hey, Paris Hilton is engaged. It's all over the place, and it doesn't serve my greater purpose, right? My greater purpose is to deeply connect and help people stay with their greater purpose and create whatever it is that they need to create. And that takes a lot of like psychological and spiritual energy. And those things, like, they just have to, you need a lot of space, and the news doesn't necessarily serve that, right? So So those are some examples of what wasn't working for me. I'm curious to hear what yours would be. So the next question was really interesting for me too. What do I fear? Speaking of fear, I think that what we fear is a really great opportunity to learn things about ourselves, because here's one of mine. One of my big fears is being angry. So there's stuff around being angry that scares me. What is that all about? We don't need to go into that, but that was an interesting one. I fear being too much, that I'll be too much for some people. Who cares? Like, if I'm too much for you, then, that's cool. I wish you really well, but you don't need to, like, watch my videos, right? That's totally cool. Then the next question, another note before I move on what do I fear, is I was really honest with myself about it. What am I scared of? And that's a vulnerable place to be, even when you're doing this exercise completely by yourself. And it's really cool because it actually opens up your heart, and you get connected to your heart, and you're able to really effectively ask yourself another question, which is, what can I do about it? What can I do about the things that I'm scared of? So in terms of being angry, what can I do about that? Why am I scared about that? Well, I have some tools from my training, and I have a lot of friends from my trainings that actually deal with beliefs and emotions around emotions. I know it sounds a little crazy that, I wrote down here, I can hire one of my colleagues to help me move through the negative emotions around the negative emotions so that I can have a healthy relationship with anger and use it when it's appropriate without feeling like a bad person, right? And that's all my stuff. And then in terms of like being too much, I kind of already addressed that. What can I do about that fear? Well, it really stands in who I am, because that's going to be the best way to show up in the world for myself and for other people. And it's going to be the best way for you to show up for yourself, for other people too. I don't want to project my fears onto your own. I'm just trying to show examples of how this exercise really showed up for me. So the what can I do about it ended up being a really, really intense part of the exercise, because what can I do about it actually created its own to-do list of energy that needed to be cleaned, of connections that need to be made, of commitments that need to be fulfilled, of lists that need to be made. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and do part 2 of this exercise and a video about this exercise tomorrow, because frankly, there's just not enough time. But, just as a really quick recap, the questions so far that are helping me move into my 2018 with grace and ease are: what's working? What isn't working? What do I fear? And what can I do about it? Because it's in those actions, what can I do about it, that it moves you out of victimization and into action. And it's actually that action that really empowers you to do some amazing things with yourself. So, one of the things that I really wanted to offer, this was so powerful to me that I started thinking about, I had a really strong vision last night about how could I bring this to people. And sometimes people don't want to do a full coaching program or anything like that, but I want to bring maybe just a really strong visualization exercise, kind of guided exercise to people. And it doesn't take too much of, it's not like a whole coaching program or anything. It's just a mini program of 3 hours for $300, where I actually take you into a hypnotic state where you can visualize what you really want for the next year, or even get more clear on it. You've probably already set your resolutions, and really actually use hypnosis to breathe more life into it, to create more urgency around exactly what you want, because the realer it is to you in the moment, the more the universe is going to conspire to give you what you want, because you're going to be feeling it, you're going to be hearing it, you're going to be open to all the breadcrumbs and the synchronicities and the miracles that are all coming together to support you in that. So there's a little bit of hypnosis, and then after that, just taking you through some really powerful exercises. And as you go through those exercises, you get to leverage the resources of myself, where I will personally guide you and give you some, or help you give insight into yourself over some of the hurdles that you might be facing or possibly creating for yourself. And we'll come up with solutions so that you can move into this year really, really powerfully. This is a limited time offer. I don't want to, it's not going to be available for too long. Again, $300 for 3 hours. Super killer deal. I've never offered my services at this affordable of a price. So if you're interested, if that's something that is really speaking to you, please DM me, or please email me at Erin at Erin Vasquez, and that's VAZQUEZ, and we'll get you set up. Easy peasy. It'll be a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be all 3 hours at once, by the way. We can do it in bite-sized chunks. Anyway, keep asking the good questions. As Tony Robbins says, our quality of life is in direct proportion to the quality of questions that we ask for ourselves. Mwah. Happy 2018. I'm so happy for everyone. I'm so excited. Best of luck to everyone. Not best of luck. Go be powerful. Go create powerfully. Be intentional. Be in really heart-centered action. And go do it. Love you all. Bye.